Education has always played a big role in Clinton Smith's life. He is a New Orleans Parish School graduate of 1969 and went to graduate from Dillard University in 1973. He then furthered his studies and graduated from Lincoln University in Jeff City, Missouri in 1975 to gain his first master's. He pursued a career in education in both St. Louis and St. Charles and continued into the New Orleans public school system. There, he became a principal of 25 years, and after returning back home from Hurricane Katrina, opened up 3 additional schools. He then retired and is now teaching at St. Augustine High School as a Spanish teacher in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Basically, I started out in pre-med, and somewhere along the line, I just decided I didn't want to be a doctor. And I always worked well with kids, and I had been tutoring kids the whole time I was in college. And I thought that might be the avenue for me to travel, since I considered myself a people's person, and I always liked helping other people and teaching them how to do things. So that was a no-brainer for me. It's really quite rewarding. As you know, the Orleans Parish school system cater to individuals of mostly that are lower economic, a lot of very bright individuals, and of course we have some with challenges. The ones probably give you the biggest thrill or make you most proud of those kids who come to you with very few skills, and when they leave you, they show great improvement. So that's a big reward in itself. Yeah, they're quite different. I think today the diversity have changed a bit. At one time, you could pretty much tell the students that came from a private school or from the public school and from the charter school. But with the advent of the charter school system, they have taken on pretty much the same clientele as that of the public school system. Private school and Catholic schools are still somewhat distinguished from those kids, not particularly intellectually or academically, but in the fact that they come from different backgrounds for the most part. And that's one of the biggest differences between the private school, Catholic school children and those in public school and charter school. But I think that the public school system prior to Katrina offered a bit more help to individuals who are lower economic or who may have been a little bit challenged, and that the resources were so much better in the Orleans Parish school system than what exists right now in the charter school system. So that's one of the biggest differences in my opinion, what has happened to the kids in the Orleans Parish area, is that the resources that were available are just not there in the charter school system like they were in the Orleans Parish school system. The other part is that I think that on a professional level, the teacher situation is quite different. Teachers are no longer required to be certified, and thus lack a lot of the skills that were provided to teachers that actually went through the teacher education process. So even though someone may have the same knowledge base without the educational background, the nurturing part of it, the psychological part of it, and just the general practices of a teacher is a little bit lacking in the charter school system. Well, I think that's a pretty tough situation to discuss right now, because I don't think that the public school system actually dictates, for the most part, how the students are going to be taught. Of course, there are state guidelines, there are state curriculums and what have you that everybody has to follow. But a lot of the other things that the public school system had the latitude to do, or the autonomy to carry out, just doesn't quite exist in the charter school system. They have their own agenda, which sometimes differ from that of a school that was in the actual Orleans Parish school system prior to Katrina. But I think that everybody is required to follow the mandates of the school system that is handed down by the state. The same pacing guide, the same core courses, and the standardized testing, and all of that is still pretty much across the board, and as it should be. Culturally, students differ from state to state, from region to region, and a lot of those things need to be taken into account when you're talking about educating kids. So yeah, the culture should sort of like dictate some of the things that should be done and taught, but I don't think it really does a good job of that. I think they're basically trying to do wholesale education across the United States, and everybody should be at the same place at the same time, being taught the exact same way as everybody else, and that may be a problem. Well, first of all, it shouldn't just be important to me, but as an educator, there's a fire in me to see people do better than what they are, or to see them grow, and we have an obligation to prepare those individuals that are coming behind us to take over our city, our state, and our country. And in order to do that, we have to have qualified people to do that. And my job is to prepare them so that they can go out and be able to do that. So if we fall short on educating them, then we fall short on preparing a nation that's competitive throughout this world. And that's going to be an issue that we're going to have to reckon with pretty soon if we don't straighten this mess out.
Education is the foundation upon which we build our future, and our educators are the ones who build our foundation. This is My Nola, my story, being an educator in New Orleans.